game. Classic and ByuN are ready to ramp up some TvP for us right here in the top right-hand corner. Currently undefeated. In fact, both these players still undefeated in the group. Classic 2-0. He's the blue Protoss in the top right. While in the bottom left, our red Terran player from the Shopify Rebellion is ByuN. He's 3-0. This group is lined up to be quite the banger. Obviously, we'll talk more about the group further on in the day. Right now, the more we talk about it, the less it makes sense, because then the more other matches are going on and all the rest of it, right? So, yeah, let's see what's going to happen as we have this TvP between two players that can always be, I mean, ByuN's always very fun to watch. And Classic's been great in this matchup lately as well. Very exciting to see him. Classic last week, if you did miss it, the reason he's 2-0, 2-0 special, 2-1 cures. So absolutely a player that can bring the fight and bring the success story here as we do engineer and play block from ByuN. Start us off. Grizzles the Bear, thank you so much. The 5-month resub on the Prime. I really appreciate it. Next is coming up, Cyberc on the way. Do we have a prediction, by the way? Let me quickly set that up for you guys. My StarCraft really likes to lag out when I click start the prediction for some reason, so give me just a second to maybe try and limit that from happening. Oh, we're good this time. Okay. Engineering Bay block down. Obviously, that can cancel because Classic has decided to go to the third base location for his base. So just gets that set up straight away there. And that comes up on that forward location. So forward nexus gets going. And just see the SCV coming around to the right. Try and see what is going on. SCV comes out, scouting over here. Is going to place a starport. So ByuN going to get pretty tricky. Proxy starport. Very, actually, a build that ByuN doesn't really lose a lot. Yeah, use a lot. Clem is someone that absolutely loves the proxy starport in TvP and absolutely hammers it. But yeah, here we go with a couple of Hellions. Starport about halfway done. And just seeing the first depth of Classic beginning to shade out down to the bottom side of the map. So trying to pick up some info and may see the Hellions. That's, of course, good information at, at the very least. Seeing two Hellions lets you know there's a good chance there's two more and maybe a drop. This is already something that's quite common because of the fact this forward base is going to be quite exposed and much more difficult to defend than usual. So that's definitely already something of a factor. As there is our medevac. And so for Classic, this is now kind of coming down to trying to, confirm whether or not this is potential for a drop, or if it's just something he has to defend at the front. He is putting a pylon down to the right side. One of these Hellions hurting, which is going to limit how long he can stay alive. The Oracle popping soon will have to be part of this defense. Put in mind the Oracle in the main, the Adepts on the third. Obviously, the Oracle is pretty mobile either way. It's going to just go kind of between the bases, right? So it's going to be quick to respond wherever it needs to be. As here comes the Hellion drop, so the Oracle should be able to activate straight away. The real goal here is to get rid of, probably two Hellions, because then you get rid of the one-shot potential. And we kill one pretty much instantly because it was low HP. The Adept was actually in the mineral line too, so this is just a good defense all around. Classic will not let ByuN get in. And this will be no success at all just now. Phoenix pushing the medevac back away. The Hellion's going to zoom back around. They actually do decide to unload. The Adept's out of position. The Phoenix can lift to stop the one-shot on the probes. And we should be able to lift this Hellion as well. So we still have three Hellions to threaten with, but great defense still. Obviously, the medevac has to boost away due to the Phoenix. Unload the Hellions. I mean, the medevac's going to die, so this is the end of this aggression, and you couldn't have asked for a better defense from Classic. He lost a single probe to the 4 Hellion drop. It was absolutely pristine. The proxy starport as well, so the starport takes a long time to fly home. That's expensive. That costs you a whole bunch. Yeah, that's really quite spectacular. Couple of Phoenix here just going to work their way through that starport. The Hellion's going to go diving toward this third mineral line, getting a couple of probes. Cyclone coming up, few Marines, Stimpak, all of that coming through as well. You do see the Cyclone getting the lock on just to push the Phoenix back a little further as well. All these Phoenix gathering together. Another one coming over the left-hand side. So joining up with everything for the moment. Again, charges already producing. Getting that underway. And following up with the Robo facility as well. Phoenix and the Oracle pull back around the right. Cyclone's chipping away at the Phoenix. Doing some decent damage there. We do have lock-ons to the Adepts, and the Adepts taking some damage. Marines, Cyclones joined together. The Oracle drops a little Revelation down. One Marine already getting picked up. Lock on, good for a kill. Yes, gets a Phoenix as the Marines get a Stalker as well. No stim or anything here, but obviously you're also talking about unupgraded kind of gateway units, so kind of evens out on both sides of that as these Adepts just not doing very well. Super Battery trying to keep them alive. ByuN finding good damage, but here the Phoenix to maybe try and offset that. More and more lock-ons. You've got to be careful with the Stalkers. Losing the Adepts is one thing. The Stalkers seem a lot more valuable. Still not bad from ByuN. I feel like this was good trades. He's a bit supply blocked as he kills off this pylon. He'll turn around. Looked like he was going to get the Oracle. Does get the Oracle. He actually moves forward for the Phoenix, for the Stalkers, instead of going for Phoenix. Also, when the Phoenix is on a lift, then it feels as though that's an easy target because it's not going to move during that lift. So kind of surprised about that. Felt like that was going to be Phoenix targeting. Now we're going to lose a lot of Marines as we retreat. That's kind of the problem, and charge kicks in as well. The Marines do have stims. They can speed up their retreat slightly, but you can see ByuN's going to lose everything. So this started very well for ByuN, but it turns around. Classic actually going to take the much more efficient trade at the end. It was just still good for ByuN until the fights continued, right? I feel like second time today we've seen a Terran maybe sticking around too long. Because there was definitely a point here where he could have retreated. He had enough Marines to shoot the Phoenix down if they chased. And there was only like 2 or 3 Stalkers. Obviously, once charge was done, that gateway force becomes way better at chasing, as we do see 2 Widow Mines getting annoying, and the next couple will burrow, try and threaten those Phoenix off. The full wall off here, and with Stim Bio behind the wall, I don't imagine we're going to try and bust through it anytime soon. And Classic is already accepting the next stage of the game himself. With the Robo Bay and a second facility, it's time to crank out into Colossi. Guns actually straight back onto the map as... Uh-oh, it's going to get weird. Phoenix Zealot is on the wrong location. Observer going to see this in a second. Maybe the Zealots are on the watchtower. We're going to recall the Zealots, one of the Phoenix too. It's absolutely necessary. You are super out of position here as ByuN is likely to do just a lot more in that fight if allowed. The Widow Mine will get a Stalker kill. No Widow Mine's hitting the Zealots, so there's no splash damage to help out there. It's a little bit painful, and ByuN I really don't think is going to have a good time. Obviously, the Phoenix can chase and kill off these medevacs too. I don't think there's enough reinforcements to suddenly turn this around. Maybe the Widow Mines goes off onto the Phoenix, but it actually splashes down the medevac at the same time, so not exactly ideal. And the Widow Mines again yet to really hit a chunk of Zealots. As Classic's army is being kept fairly low and fairly basic, but again, he's teching behind it, and to me, that's the most important part. The fact we are seeing him progress his army beyond just what it is. There are going to be Colossi to support this at some stage. I think that's all going to be, very important factors, moving into the future. It definitely feels like ByuN is on the losing edge of things. Definitely the player who maybe needs to try and turn things around right now, switch things up, get things going a little bit differently. Phoenix in the front, clearing out a Widow Mine. Medevac's coming through, just gonna load up, drop down. A little bit of micro on that one as we have got the Bioforce peeling back away to the left-hand side. It's just gonna pull back with that for a few moments. Medevac's load up in earnest, and well, that's the ByuN special, but he's gonna fly right across a couple of units here. The Zealots are gonna spot these Medevacs. I mean, the Medevacs also spot the Zealots, so that's a win as well, but I feel like ByuN is in more desperate need of these Medevacs getting a successful drop than these Zealots are in need of running by onto the natural. It's a definitely nice spot for Classic. Big map as well, so there's a lot of space to move around with drops. There's a lot of room to miss drops going across the map, so they are dangerous on this map specifically for that reason. Something else to be concerned about. Medevacs will load up again, gonna head up to the top left. And the Phoenix will just go through again. The Medevac's getting chased. I'll lift up a Marauder. Colossus firing. The Marauder's taking some shots. You have the rocks here that are actually going to be targeted down from ByuN. It looked like he hit them for a moment. I was like, can he maybe drop them and land them onto you know, the tower, which would also maybe hit a Colossus or something. Like, it was possible, no? Probably not worth the extra shot on them, but it felt like a creative idea. That probably wouldn't have worked, but yeah. Colossi, Stalkers, and Zealots start pushing through. A couple SCVs going down. The Ghost that was coming to the front gets turned around as well, so that is not able to do much. We knock down a Widow Mine, the Supply Depot as well. And this army just continues to press on in as we take down another refinery. And it's going to be a massive stim right now. Going to start chasing forward. Forcefield's coming across the back of this army. Zealots will charge through. 12 SCVs currently going down. And obviously no third base now as well. It's going to retract to the bottom side. And Classic continues to look really good when it comes to the PvT in this. If it makes it into these series a lot of the time, you know, if one player really disliked it that much, then yeah, it wouldn't be here, you know. Believe it or not. Top left-hand side, our blue Protoss player is Classic, and he is up a game against the undefeated player in this group in the bottom right corner, Shopify Rebellion's ByuN. Again, Classic undefeated too, so both the players undefeated going into this match. ByuN had played one more series in Classic going in. Classic will play Ragnarok later today, so we'll be showing that as series, I believe series 5 for us on the stream, so keep your eyes open for that one. A couple matches from now. How's that, Rex? On the way, Gateway coming up, Simulator coming through as well. Yeah, it's just, sorry, just answering a player's question on the other screen quickly is we have, obviously, early game here, not too much going on. Center coming down, and that's more or less going to be our kind of early setup for a few moments. Not too crazy here. Second Marine coming back. Twilight Council coming up. That's going to be seeing now a couple of probes on the way out as well. And Classic obviously playing a very different style here in this game number 2. Sorry for a few moments of silence, guys. Like I said, I was just quickly sorting some questions out on the other screen. Saving some money hiring an admin today by adminning myself, because typically it's very easy. At worst case, I just have to go like shh for a moment or two while I answer a question or so. We can go from there. Depth is gonna go down. And it's gonna be seeing a few Marines, Widow Mine, all coming through, and just seeing the blink coming up on these Stalkers as well. A couple of gateways coming out. Robo still on the low ground. Gateways coming up. How many gateways is going to be? So it's just going to be 3 gates. That kind of middling kind of, you know, aggression here. Stalker's pulling back around, and obviously once that blink is done, we get onto the map. Until then, ByuN has the triple Widow Mine drop. So with triple mine, You have not built a Hellion early to help you with scouting or anything, and when you look at what ByuN has seen, it's completely blind. He has no idea what's going on. He'll drop one mine on this base, though, which is going to delay it, and he's going to kill that probe, so that's already a successful mine. You typically talk about one probe, per mine is generally decent for you, so not a bad start. That Robo Bay coming up from Classic in the main base. The Blink about to finish. The Raven coming through on the starport as well. So gets that up and rolling. Max drops down. Tech lab there. I mean, the medevac's just going to sit here. The idea of this medevac right now is obviously just the fact that it's here is scary enough to keep kind of, Classic thinking about it and to potentially bring some units in against it or something along those lines. It's just kind of working with that kind of in play. We're actually going to have to blink to get rid of this Widowmine shot. That's the medevac, like I say. It's just keeping Classic from moving across the map. He cannot go across the map easily in this situation. As we are going to see Classic opening the Gravitic Drive. Disruptor Drop is coming up as the follow-up here. And we'll see how much damage that can do. Classic already leading this match by a single game, remember. Can he Disruptor Drop his way to a 2-0 in style? Well, maybe. Like I say, so far, decent defense. Not really, like I say, also doing quite as much as you might want to with the initial Stalkers on the map. He is going to go Colossus after a single Disruptor. So it really is just one Disruptor drop and then get the Colossus to follow up after. Prism all the way out around the far right. We do have the Observer of Classic just going to set up over on the edge. These Stalkers here the opportunity to hop up into the main. And just going to start to work on Stim. I don't think 4 Stalkers can ever get Stim because obviously you're going to work on the everything else at the same time. The Disruptor tries to find the bio, goes around the bottom of the command center though, which is maybe a little bit of a shame because obviously the bio was able to stay away there. The Stalkers do get pushed back. The Stim pack is saved at the very least. That is a nice bonus. And yeah, the Stalkers just back away, and the Prism is still obviously on the hunt as well. The Disruptor is, oh god, a knock go down. He actually is able to get the shot off without dying, so that is big. Well, when you do grab the Observer here as ByuN continues across the map, I do not think there's going to be too much opportunity though. Not with the Disruptor to help buy a bit of time. Colossi have already been coming out as well, remember. Overall, this looking very good as we drop into the main. Our Bioforce gets active, and I'm going to start going after this charge. Too many units, though, and we get the full medevac as ByuN tries to retreat. Classic is continuing to just dominate in PvT, man. He's looking very good. And, yeah, this is just perfect defense, right? He's just really denying ByuN from ever getting proper damage dealt. And every time just ByuN feels as though he might have a little edge, he might have a little way in, Classic's just like, no, you don't. You don't have that at all. Going to drop the double forge now as well, so going to start working on upgrades, which he's neglected up until this point because he's been so busy with Blink and then the Disruptor drop, etc. So just going to limit that little bit as our Disruptor sets up in the Prism and moves around the bottom side. Tank sieged by a 4C setting up, and the Raven overhead. And Classic sends a group of Zealots down the bottom. This Widowmine drop, by the way, still here. Still keeping 2-3 Stalkers out of the main army. At some point, we might see that make a play, but that moment is still yet to come. Temple Archives is halfway done there. All the 1-1 upgrades, Chrono boosting, that's going to be his priority for a while. I wouldn't even mind if he just gets rid of a couple of tanks here. He clearly kind of second-guessed it himself for a moment, but then he was like, oh wow, I actually do, there's just tanks but with nothing in front of them. 2 tanks go down, and yeah, ByuN loses what is a bit of the spine of his army right now, so they can really keep on supporting. It's like this Disruptor job hasn't done too much else unless we've really missed it, but we would have seen the workers pop up on the side of the screen if he'd killed multiple, so it doesn't feel like the Disruptor's been that great since the earlier stages. Was that the Widowmine drop? It was. 10 probes just went down to the Widowmine drop, guys. And the medevac got out as well. So actually, ByuN does finally find damage with that Widowmine drop as I'm checking on the Disruptor. So 10 probes go down. Big connection. And finally something for ByuN, because so far this has not been great for him, right? This might not be great for him either, although it looks like the medevacs will get in the main base. There's High Templars feedbacks One feedback's enough to turn this around, and the Stalker's all set here, and ByuN's already used the boost. If we just blink on top, do we have blink? Yes, we do. Of course we do. We started with blink. Oh, and the full medevac goes down, and the next one goes down as well. Disaster for ByuN as everything drops. Again, everything is just dying in this game for ByuN, and Classic is so on top of every move ByuN is making. At that point, ByuN just needs to realize he can't get out, and you just have to try and fight and trade as best you can, but this is just getting messy. The thing is as well, the medevacs could have sat up here. He just kind of floated them over. He's obviously just moving very quickly, and just a mistake, right? To kind of send them sitting here instead of just AFKing up here for a bit. ByuN just making mistakes. There's no two ways about it. Classic is playing at the top of his game right now. And like I say, capitalizing and forcing ByuN's mistakes as well, I feel like, too. So, yeah, great job from Classic. Playing great. A battle of the Stasis Wardies, by the way. It was about a year ago. We had the cast of Civil War. Classic and ByuN, both part of the same team. The Stasis Wardies, Civil War champs. You guys wonder why there's never going to be a second cast of Civil War? Because I'm retiring on top, that's why. But yeah, just a fun note is, I always see Classic and ByuN Solo as my boys nowadays. Creator. What a team. Army sets up around the right side. We do have Zealots dropping into the main base. SCV is going to get chased around. A few more Zealots warping in, and we'll go charging after a few more of these SCVs, so damage will be done. 10 SCVs dropping, a couple of these Zealots going down as well. Five was down to the low ground, going to get another round of Zealots walking in as well, by the way, so it's going to be just more harassment in the main. ByuN doesn't have a ton of units to deal with this, and even the units he does have are not going to be great. The Marauders obviously don't do great damage to the Zealots. At least these couple of mines put in some work, as even Vikings are landing to try and help out. Classic gets the Prism away alive, so that can come back again later. Looks as though he was thinking about moving forward here, but it's a very defensive position from ByuN. I can't imagine you find too much opportunity to really commit into this. This kind of looks as though it would be a little bit of a crazy move if you wanted to try and move in there. There's a couple of Widow Mine shots going off. Deep on the high ground will take a few clips of damage as well. Zealots in the bottom just going to stay in position and keep things pushed away for a few moments. Classic pulling back up the right. I think good decision from Classic, right? This was a super defensive, choked up area. There wasn't room for him to move in with the main army there. Rotate around, go elsewhere. The Prism's going to be back in the main. Low HP, that Prism, so missile turret shots are scary to it, but it gets in. And now this army is going to have an easier time pushing up here because all the mines aren't set up. There isn't the missile turret, the tanks. There's just not as much set up initially as they are going to get rid of potentially +2 attack on the engineering base. That will go down. These Zealots already finding value. Now this big fight breaks out. Good EMPs. A lot of the Archons hurting. The shields missing on the Colossi as well. Disruptor shots to help stop the Zealots stop the Bio army from chasing down. But the Zealots in the main base still active as, again, Classic just taking down some SCVs. Killing the +2 attack is huge. Really puts ByuN behind on an upgrade from where he would have initially liked to have been, I'm sure. And keeps this in a very intriguing place. Big load of medevac's going to come over the right side. Away they go. Army is going to come in. A couple of Widow Mines actually going to be big into the center of this army. Well, Sentry's going down. Disruptor shot fires for a couple of Widow Mines as well, firing through that. Medevac's load up, going to jump into this main base and then rotate around over to the left and maybe try and chase down this army, man. Some of the splash damage from ByuN has been great. The thing is, Classic is overtaking the map. 5 bases that are normal. 2 corner bases, one of which is obviously meant to be ByuN's at some stage. We're just going to take that anyways. And yeah, ByuN is, defending 4 bases decently enough. But even that, just with all the economy that Classic has, 93 probes of it, going very well. Going to blink forward to try and get the Raven, but he blinks into his own disruptor shot. So a little friendly fire there from Classic. Nothing wrong with giving your opponent a bit of a hand when they're in a tough time. That's good sportsmanship, right? That's what they teach you. Something like that. Zealots come off of this base, which ByuN doesn't know about. He knows about the pylon, but obviously if he goes cleans up the pylon, he's going to find the base. Classic's going to start rotating up here, but taking damage as he goes. The tanks on the edges and the, Widowmine shot as well. He's actually going to recall here, which obviously is something that ByuN might not be expecting, because let's face it, who expected the base there? ByuN did dive on one of the Colossus. Now we're trying to come around with everything else. Disruptor's coming in from the left side. The Stalker's not able to get close enough, as Classic is attempting to rejoin his army together. Now Classic kind of lost a lot of supply all at once. He still has the money to rebuild, but too many trades like that could cause trouble, so still a potential danger. As that bio moves up, Classic could really do a clean up these couple mines, for example, would be nice. He has so many disruptors, by the way. Disruptors are kind of interesting because if you get on top of the disruptors, they die very quickly, right? So if they don't have enough shots going on, it can be trouble, but so far this was good. And Classic is able to continue moving forward, even with the anti-arm missile going to go up this ramp. The Widowmines on the top side clean out a couple Stalkers. If you blink in, another disruptor shot clips this edge of the Marauders that were not stimmed back. And now we're up this ramp's going to be even harder to get through. And again, just disruptors for days. If you can keep the army at bay with disruptors, they're amazing. It's when they can close the gap it makes the difference. ByuN has a force bottom left, denying a base and moving up for another. Because obviously Classic here is doing so well, though. I mean, the disruptors keep on doing brilliantly, killing off so many units. And you can see ByuN's supply is struggling along. Yeah, as Raven takes a few more shots. Zealots charging in. We continue to come through. And this really looks as though we have got enough to just push on in. Classic up enough supply to, I think, just close this one out. He does still have to, at some point, I guess, deal with this army on the other side, because that does make it a little bit of a base trade. Just a little bit awkward for sure. I think we're missing detection to deal with these Widow Mines easily as well, so you have to keep using the disruptors, but Classic also has top right base and this base. He just doesn't have production on those bases, so I guess if you lose your main, that is the problem. As we load the SCVs into the planetary to save them from Disruptageddon. Yep, that was dangerous and very exploding. Very explodey few moments. Medevac's boosting over this army. Stalkers get rid of 2, maybe all 3 of them as they change direction. 62 probes dead, 49 SCVs. Base after base of the Protoss still going down. We do have DTs, by the way, in play. Obviously, DT's massive when it comes to the fact that you're starting to get rid of the command centers, get rid of the orbital commands. It's going to make your life a whole bunch easier. This orbital in trouble now as well. I think that's the last orbital of the game. Oh, no scans for ByuN, so now DTs are guaranteed cleanup unless there are ghosts. And there are ghosts, so EMPs are available. As we currently have to try and disrupt our way through the front door. I'm talking about barging into someone's house. It's a little bit of an extreme entry, blowing up the front door with disruptor shots. You didn't answer the door soon enough, I thought you were in trouble. Bam, 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 disruptors just blowing up everything. Worst part is they don't just blow up the front door, they blow up the entire front hallway as well. There's just no control. Army supplies are still competitive for ByuN, 90 to 110. Obviously in a base trade, the Terran has that mobility. The Classic can just recall and protect this base in the top right. He still has his production in the main, which might be ByuN's target to try and pull Classic apart a bit. As ByuN going to lose a chunk of ghosts at the very least as this fight starts out. Disruptors going down to the south where a lot of the reinforcements are coming from. This group of Marauders, oh my god, he gets the disruptor shot. I know ByuN's probably dead anyways, but I was like, I kind of thought he was going to go out with a spectacular bang. Instead, it was an actual pretty nice snipe, but obviously just too little too late. Classic closes out the series 2-0 over ByuN. He ate his Weetabix this morning.